How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in this video we're going to be talking about the forgotten content of Star Wars Battlefront 2. So we're going to be talking about maps, game modes, skins, everything. We're going to cover it all here today. So if you guys are enjoying the Battlefront 2 videos right now, then be sure to drop a like on this video to show your support and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as we are rapidly approaching 60,000 subscribers. But now anyway, no messing about, let's dive right into this. So kickstarting this video off, let's talk about the forgotten maps of Battlefront 2. Now I say forgotten for these maps because the fact that at least some of them aren't in multiplayer is very confusing to me. It's like they've just been totally ignored or forgotten. But anyway, I'll start with the obvious one, Scarif. Scarif was one of the fan favorite maps from Battlefront 2015's Scarif DLC. And it is in Battlefront 2, but it's in the campaign already, but for some reason it's not in Battlefront 2's multiplayer. Now like I said, we see Scarif in the campaign as well as Shore Troopers, which are in the campaign as well. Now I still don't understand why Scarif isn't in the game properly. Scarif seems like the perfect Capital Supremacy map in my opinion. Now when DICE do add original trilogy content to Capital Supremacy, which is almost completely confirmed that they will without it actually being confirmed, I just think that it would be a massive missed opportunity if they did not add Scarif into the Capital Supremacy rotation. Like, clearly they had to do some changes to get Scarif from Battlefront 2015 into Battlefront 2's campaign. So why not go that step further and bring it to multiplayer? I don't know, it's kind of confusing to me. Now I know that some people who are going to watch this video are just going to say, you know, just because it's in the campaign doesn't mean they should add it to multiplayer. But I mean, they are already adding one of the maps from the campaign to multiplayer in a couple weeks time. This is obviously in the form of the Resurgent Star Destroyer, which is going to be used as the ship phase for sequel trilogy Capital Supremacy. So they are obviously not lost to the idea of bringing campaign maps into multiplayer. Now that leads me on to another map that has just seemingly been forgotten about from the campaign. And that is of course the Bespin map from the campaign. Now this could potentially work as a large scale game mode map, but probably would be worthwhile as maybe just a heroes versus villains map at the bare minimum. Now we do have one Bespin map in the game already in heroes versus villains, so pulling this from the campaign would be a great idea, just for a little bit more added map variety. Now also the Sullust Weapons Refinery from the campaign mission where you play as Lando would fit really nicely into smaller game modes as a new map. It's got a sort of complex layout and it would be fresh to have it in multiplayer. Now also there is Pilio, which is an incredible looking map, and having it locked into one mission of the campaign is just criminal if you ask me. Now this is obviously the map that we got to play as Luke Skywalker in the campaign and kill bugs for 5 minutes, because that was quite something. But regardless, Pilio looks amazing and I would love to see it in the multiplayer. And finally, Vardos, which is Iden Versio's home planet and basically an Imperial planet. This is one of the cooler locations from the campaign, and it does kind of frustrate me that it is not in the multiplayer aspects of Battlefront 2. Now I personally think that Vardos would make for a great Galactic Assault map. We sort of experience a Galactic Assault structure with the AT-AT on the Vardos mission in the campaign, so I think this is a massive missed opportunity if they don't bring this to multiplayer. But yeah, I mean, all of these maps just seem forgotten by DICE, and a lot of these maps are amazing and would fit into multiplayer really well. And let's be real, map variety has become stale in multiplayer, so bringing these maps over from the campaign could really help with that. And I really hope that if the community makes enough noise that they actually start bringing these maps over. I mean, they are right there, built and in the game already, so DICE pullers. Now moving on, we are not done. There is still a ton more forgotten content to get through in this video. So the first one that I want to talk about is the promotional image for Battlefront 2, which was released shortly before the game. Now in this image, we obviously see the Slave One on Kamino, which both of them are in the game, and of course Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. But I mean, it's nowhere to be seen in the game. Now the chance of this coming to the game now is basically zero, as Criterion, who do the Starfighters for Battlefront 2, don't work on the game anymore. But I still thought that I'd bring it up in this video anyway, as we do have Yoda's Jedi Starfighter in the game, but Obi-Wan's is still nowhere to be seen. Now maybe they didn't want to add Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter whilst he wasn't in the game, which, it doesn't really make sense because Poe Dameron's X-Wing is in the game, but Poe Dameron isn't as a playable hero. Or maybe they just couldn't get the mechanics working properly, I don't know, but it's not in the game to this day. And like I said, seeing as Criterion aren't working on Battlefront 2 anymore, I think its chances of coming are a big fat zero, and I think this is just another example of just forgotten content for Battlefront 2. But now, moving on is the Crate Heroes vs Villains map. Now this was supposedly coming to the game ages ago, and recently a lot of people have brought this discussion back up, because we have somehow managed to get a Heroes vs Villains map for Ajan Kloss before we got a Heroes vs Villains map for Crate. And Ajan Kloss was released 2 years after Crate, so it's kind of weird. Now about 6 months ago, a developer at DICE did respond to this on Reddit saying that gameplay wise Crate had been ready to go for a long time, but to this day, it is still not in the game. Now admittedly, the Heroes vs Villains map rotation isn't in dire need of new maps like Galactic Assault is, but this map would still undeniably be great to see, and it seems as if DICE have just completely forgotten about it, but the community never forgets. But now moving on again, we have a forgotten game mode, which is of course Jetpack Cargo. Now, Jetpack Cargo hasn't been in Battlefront 2 for well over a year now, I believe. Now, to all the new players who never got to play this game mode, it was essentially a basic cargo mode, but with jetpack troopers with fast refresh rates for the jetpacks. It was kind of fun, but it just wasn't what Battlefront 2 needed at the time. So Jetpack Cargo came into Battlefront 2 as a limited time mode. It wasn't around for all that long, and it got taken out of the game for a while, then it got put back in as a seemingly permanent game mode. Then one day it kind of just disappeared and we haven't really heard anything since. Now I only knew about this because I had a subscriber mention it to me whilst I was on livestream, then I went and checked and yeah, it was gone. So I mean, that was that, and over a year later, it is still gone, and it seems DICE have either forgotten about it or they just really wanted it gone for some reason. But yeah, it's just another bit of content that DICE seemingly have forgotten. Granted, we don't know the full story, and the mode wasn't really super successful, but there was fun to be had there. It was just a very different game mode, but I mean, yeah, it's gone, and who knows if it's coming back or not. But now moving on to some more seemingly forgotten content. Now this isn't anything specific, but more of a ton of things that appeared in the game's files for Battlefront 2 that we just haven't seen come to fruition. Now when there's file leaks and stuff like that, normally a lot of stuff was revealed, and honestly, if I wanted to dedicate everything that was in the leaks that hasn't come to fruition, I could literally make a 20-minute video about it, but I'll keep it short, sweet to the ones I just want to talk about in this video. Now, in a lot of the file leaks that I'm going to talk about, there are things that have since come to Battlefront 2, like, Obi-Wan's Clone Wars skin, the Clone Trooper skins, reinforcements, blasters, etc. But there are things that we still have not seen, so maybe they've been forgotten about, maybe they've been cancelled, or maybe they are still working on them. But I'm going to be focusing on older file leaks here, as new ones still have a chance to come to the game soonish. So way back over a year ago, there was a big file leak which showed us a ton of weapons in the game's files, including the T-21 blaster, which was from Battlefront 2015, as well as animations for things like Bacta bombs, which obviously are still not in Battlefront 2. Now there was also the Sentinel class, which had ARC troopers attached to it. Now they have since come to the game, but the Sentinel class is still nowhere to be seen. Apparently the Infiltrator class was a replacement, who knows, but yeah, I don't see how the Sentinel class has just been scrapped. Like, we had Rebel pilot reinforcements and stuff like that linked to the Sentinel class, and the ARC Trooper was supposed to have a pulse cannon ability, and obviously we know the ARC Trooper is in the game now, and the ARC Trooper does not have a pulse cannon. But yeah, there was just a lot of stuff leaked through the game's files over the past 2 years that seem to have either been forgotten about, cancelled, or just still, who knows if they're going to come to the game or not. But yeah, there has just been a ton of stuff that seemingly has just been, forgotten in terms of content for Battlefront 2. But the silver lining is, a lot of the stuff that seems to have been forgotten about by DICE still has a chance to come to the game. Like all the maps from the campaign, I think with the right amount of noise made by the community, I think there's still a massive chance to be sprinkled into the game throughout the remainder of Battlefront 2's lifespan. After all, we are getting one in a couple weeks' time, so the possibility is always there. Now, as for Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter, like I said, that one's pretty much dead and buried, and Crate's HVV map is still very much so a possibility. And as for the various things that came into the game's files, who knows by this point. But there is undeniably a ton of content that has seemingly just been forgotten about by DICE, and it sucks because a lot of that content has serious potential and would certainly elevate Battlefront 2 to the next level. But I mean, who knows, maybe this video will help reignite some of the desire for some of this stuff into Battlefront 2, but we're just going to have to wait and see how it all pans out. So guys, what do you all think of this? Is there any of this forgotten content that you would really like to see make its way into Battlefront 2? Let me know in the comments section below. And if there's anything that I missed in this video, then absolutely feel free to put it in the comments, because there's no doubt that I have missed a lot, because seemingly a lot has been forgotten about. Now, if you did go on to enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like, as it does help out the channel a great deal. And if you are new around here, then absolutely feel free to subscribe to the channel for more Battlefront 2 videos, as we are marching on to 60,000 subscribers. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all again next time.